name is Carrie, and this conference is all about the big idea. So my talk is a little bit different. It's about how I had a big idea, I formed a nonprofit organization around that idea, and then I quit my nonprofit. So first we're going to start with the question that we often ask ourselves. And that question is, can I do this? And you're probably asking yourself this question every day. You've probably done it already today. It could be as simple as, can I get through the afternoon without another cup of coffee? Or it can be as serious as, can I stand up to racism if I see it in my workplace? So I'm going to share 4 times in my life that I asked myself this question and how I answered it. So I'm a runner, and 3 years ago I ran my first marathon. And I have a very vivid memory at mile 21. I asked myself, can I do this? I was tired, I'd been running for 3 hours, and I didn't know if I could make it to the finish line. And I answered myself with, well, this is the first time, I don't know. I'm going to keep putting my foot in front of the other and do it over again and over again and over again, and hopefully I'll get to the finish line. And I did. 16 months ago today, I was in labor. I gave birth to my daughter. And I'm very lucky that my husband and I hired a doula. And if you don't know what a doula is, they're basically a birthing coach for women in childbirth. And I had a marathon labor. I was in labor for 26 hours. And in the 25th hour, I was exhausted. I hadn't slept in 48 hours. I was losing it mentally and physically. And I turned to my doula and I said, Kelly, I don't think I can do this. I'm losing it. I can't do it. And she looked at me and she said, Carrie, you are doing it. You're doing it right now. And 30 minutes later, I met my daughter. So sometimes we just need the encouragement to know that the thing that you think you can't do, you've probably already started doing it. You just have to keep going. Back in 2005, I really wanted to start a dog walking service. I've loved dogs my whole life, but I had no business background. I majored in sociology and urban studies. So I literally Googled, can I start a business in the state of Pennsylvania? And yes, it's really easy to start a business in the state of Pennsylvania. And now 12 years later, after a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and dog poop, we are the largest dog walking service in Philadelphia. A few months ago, Kyle from Arcadia University reached out to me and he said, hey Carrie, we really want you to do a TED Talk. And my initial reaction was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to get on stage. I don't know. So I didn't answer his email for a few weeks. And then he emailed me again. He was like, hey Carrie, do you want to do that? And I almost faltered and I almost said no, but I knew that if I didn't do it, I would regret not doing it. So here I am. So, you ask yourself this question all the time. Your answers can be different. Sometimes you need other people to encourage you. But you do ask yourself the question, can I do this every day? Now let's get back to how I started my nonprofit. It was back in 2010, and I was running with my dogs a lot. And so I bring my dogs out for runs with me for a few reasons. One, I'm a female, and even though my dogs wouldn't harm a fly, I just feel safer with them by my side. 2, there's nothing like the motivation of a wagging tail to get you out the door in the morning when you really don't want to go for a run. And 3, I'm also a practical person. I believe that a well-exercised dog is a healthier dog, so it means less trips to the vet and they behave better around the house. So it's a win-win for everyone. At the same time, back in 2010, my husband and I were doing a lot of volunteering at our local animal shelter. Every Friday morning, we would go to the shelter and we would help get the facility ready to be open for the public. So we would do really glamorous things like laundry and mop floors, and we cleaned out hundreds of litter boxes. It was disgusting, but we did it because we cared. And one night I was out for a run with my dogs and I had a big idea. I was like, well, why don't I ask the shelter staff if they'll let me take a dog out for a run? It would be great for me, I get to get a run in, and it would be a fun way to volunteer that didn't involve litter boxes. So the next Friday I went to the shelter and I asked them, I was like, hey, can I take one of the dogs out for a run? And I'd been volunteering there for a while, so they were like, yeah, go on and do that. And then I had another big idea. I thought, well, Philly has a lot of really great running clubs, We have a lot of running clubs in the city that have a philanthropic thrust. So you have Back on My Feet, you have Students Run Philly Style, you have Philly Achilles, which are all awesome running clubs that also have a social mission. I thought, what if we became the running club for homeless dogs? So we could have people meet us at the shelter, take a dog out for a run, and then the dog can meet tons of adopters and runners. And I asked the shelter, and they thought it was a great idea. So we did it, and we formed a running group called the Monster Milers. We started posting on social media, and we got some early press, which meant my inbox exploded overnight. There was one 24-hour period where I got over 80 emails from people who wanted to get involved. And then people started asking the same question that I asked myself, was, can I do this? So they started saying, hey Carrie, I like the idea about a group run, but I want to go to the shelters after work, or on my workout, or my lunch hour. I want to go to the shelters on Sunday morning. And as often with a big idea, you initially start thinking about all the reasons why it wouldn't work. So I started thinking about liability. I started thinking about safety concerns. I started thinking about my own time. Do I have time to manage a bunch of volunteers? But really, in the back of my mind, I thought that the shelter was going to say, absolutely not. We're not going to let these people out there with dogs. And I asked them, and much to my surprise, they were into it. And I think this is because if you've ever worked with an animal shelter, you will know that animal shelters are employed by the original dreamers. They face horrible statistics and heartbreaking stories every day, and they continue to go to work day in and day out. So they gave me the go-ahead to do this. It took it to the next level, right? So we started committees, and we decided we were going to start a nonprofit whose sole mission was to connect local runners with homeless dogs as running companions. And we did this in a few different ways. One, we started training volunteers. And we started training volunteers to train other volunteers. And in a few years, we had over 500 volunteers that were going into Philadelphia animal shelters. Two, we started setting up adoption events. So anyone that would have us, we would bring adoptable dogs. So we would go to running stores, we would visit other running clubs, we networked heavily within the running community. We went to events, marathons, anyone that would have us, we would bring an adoptable dog, and we would introduce the dogs to thousands of potential adopters. We started getting national press, which was really cool to see our names in the national news. And now there's copycat organizations all over the country, which is so validating to see. We also started a 5K down at the Navy Yard, which is an award-winning race now and a beloved race in the Philadelphia calendar. It's called the Rescue Run 5K. We invite shelters to come down, we bring a ton of adoptable dogs, we have a race, it's a day of celebration, it's wonderful. And then in 2014, we actually started rescuing dogs directly. So we set up a foster network of foster homes, and we would pull dogs out of shelters and find homes for them. So we transformed from a running club into a volunteer organization, into a rescue organization. And it wasn't only me, I was doing it with a huge group of dedicated volunteers. And it was beautiful, and it was messy. And it was a beautiful mess, and all of us were working full-time and volunteering our time, but we made it work. And then, I had a baby. You probably know where this is going. People tell you you're not ready for the amount of love you're going to experience when you have a baby, and it is true. I know there's a lot of students in this room, but it is true. It's like a cosmic connection. It's something I've never experienced with another human being. But one thing that you're not ready for is just how much time it takes. Overnight, I lost every ounce of free time, just like that. And I soon realized a few months after my daughter was born that when I looked back at this time, do I want to say that I missed important moments in my daughter's life because I was volunteering so much? Because I only get to do this once. And I'm a working mom, and that's not an option for me. I own a business. So burnout is a very real thing. Business owners can tell you this. It can be devastating for a business. And I have 20 employees, full-time employees that count on me to make sure that I am not burned out so our business is on point. And so I don't apologize that I need to take care of myself. I believe that self-care is deeply important, and there are students in this room, and I can tell you before you graduate, you're going to have a time where you're going to realize that self-care is very important. But to take care of yourself, you need to say no. I need to be able to take care of my husband, my own 2 dogs, and my daughter. And I'm not afraid to say, I still want to go to yoga class on Saturday mornings, and some nights I just want to sit on the couch and read Harry Potter for the 3rd time. So you have to say no, but we live in a society that always tells us we have to say yes. You know, there's this whole fear of missing out thing. You have to say yes, and if you don't say yes, somebody else will take your place. And that's got to be a bad thing, right? But maybe it's not, because I kept asking myself, can I continue to do this? Can I work full-time? Can I be a mom? Can I be the center of a nonprofit organization with 500 volunteers? And I started to say, no. Even with the amazing committees that are supporting me, I can't continue to do this. So, first I cried, and then I emailed my committee, and I said, guys, I'm really sorry, but either we have to shut this beautiful mess down, or we need to find someone to take my place. And now my committee had put just as much time and effort and love into this organization that I had, and I thought they were going to be disappointed in me. And they met me with grace, and they said, Carrie, of course you're tired, you have a newborn at home, it's fine, let's do this. So, like we've been doing for the last 5 years, we got back into the trenches together, and we started what I could like to call Milers 2.0. So what are we doing? First, we stopped accepting volunteers and we stopped rescuing dogs, which sounds really counterproductive for an organization with our mission. But we realized that we weren't doing anyone justice if we were scrambling just to answer emails. It's not the type of organization we wanted to run. We were a grassroots organization. We started as just a run club, but we needed to set a good foundation. So we actually brought in an outside advisor, somebody whose profession was to help nonprofits thrive. She's helping us to diversify our board. And now we're starting a strategic planning process. So we're not only worried about, do we have enough volunteers to staff the adoption event that we've got going on next Thursday night? Now we can think thoughtfully about where we want our organization to go in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And yes, we're hiring an executive director now to take my place. We are taking our messy but beautiful org from an all-volunteer grassroots organization to the next level. And it's all because I said, no, I can't do this anymore. And I know that we're going to be able to rescue more dogs, expand to more shelters, and train more volunteers because I said no. And I don't want everyone to go home and quit everything that they're a part of, because that's not what I'm saying. Because in a few years, when my daughter's a little bit more independent, I'm really going to look forward to volunteering with her. I want her to see that it's really exciting to live a life in which you're engaged with your community. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what you're passionate about, if it's urban planning, if it's dog rescue, if it's local politics, if it's everything, I tend to be one of those I'm interested in everything people, you will be a more effective change agent if you're not burned out. So the next time you ask yourself, can I do this? Maybe follow it up with a second question of, should I do this? Do a little bit of strategic planning for your own life. And plan a few years in the future. Because it is my hope that because I said no, that as an organization, when somebody asks us, can you guys do this? We will be able to say yes. Okay, thank you.